What if the most powerful thing you ever said to him was nothing at all? Not a single word. No long messages, no late-night calls, no desperate explanations, just silence. Strong, confident, undeniable silence. Because here's the truth, real devotion isn't triggered by chasing. It isn't created by begging for love or proving your worth. Devotion begins when you stop talking and start becoming. He doesn't fall in love with the noise. He falls in love with the presence, the energy, the power you carry without needing to explain a thing. A woman who says nothing but somehow says everything with how she carries herself, that is the woman who stays in his mind. That is the woman he cannot forget. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." And in relationships, the more you try to control how he feels, the further he pulls away. But the moment you turn inward, the moment you focus on your own glow, your own growth, your own peace, something shifts. He starts to notice. He starts to feel. He starts to chase. Think of a flame, the kind that dances gently but burns with deep heat. That flame doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't try to prove how hot it is. It just burns. And because it burns, people gather around it. They crave its warmth. That is you, not loud, not begging, just burning. And once he feels the loss of your warmth, that's when devotion begins. Right now, maybe you feel ignored. Maybe you've given your heart to him and now you're wondering if he even sees you. You keep talking, explaining, hoping he'll understand your love. But the more words you use, the more invisible you feel. You're not crazy, you're not needy, you're a woman who simply gave too much to someone who stopped appreciating it. But now it's time to stop giving so much to him and start giving everything to yourself. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. The beginning of becoming the kind of woman who doesn't chase love. The kind of woman who attracts it. Not just any woman. A woman who walks with her head high. A woman who speaks through her silence, her glow, her peace. This is what living like a queen looks like. She doesn't shout to be heard. She just becomes impossible to ignore. So if you're ready to make him feel your absence louder than your words ever could, if you're ready to trigger a devotion he didn't even know he was capable of giving, then stay with me, because your power is just beginning to rise. If this message touched something deep inside you, if it reminded you of your worth, your power, your silence that speaks louder than words, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working with heart, with purpose, and with love to bring you the kind of content that lifts you, heals you, and helps you step fully into your power. You deserve to feel seen, supported, and unstoppable, and we're right here with you every step of the way. Number 1, the glow. He can't escape. Have you ever seen a light so bright it couldn't be ignored, even with closed eyes? That's you. That's the glow he can't escape. He walked away. He thought you would fade. But what he didn't expect was the silence, the transformation, the way you rose without a single word. You didn't chase. You didn't cry. You became untouchable. He thought you would reach out. He waited for your messages, your questions, your tears, but instead you gave him something he never saw coming, your silence. Not cold, not bitter, just still. And in that stillness, something shifted. You didn't disappear, you became. You stepped into your power, and the glow that came from that, it haunts him now, because he knows he can't unsee you. The poet Rumi once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." You were hurt, yes, but you didn't stay broken. You became the light. And now, without saying a single word, you are pulling his thoughts, his eyes, his attention, all without lifting a finger. Think of the moon. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't scream to be seen. It just rises, quietly, in its own time. And the world watches. That's what's happening now. He's watching, and the glow he once overlooked, it's shining brighter than ever, but it no longer shines for him. Maybe he's with her now. Maybe he thinks he's moved on. But late at night, when the world is quiet, he remembers the way you looked at him. He remembers your love. And the woman who loved him silently is now the woman his soul whispers for. Because your silence didn't push him away, it made him see what he lost. You're no longer chasing, you're becoming, you're living. You are not just any woman. You are a woman stepping into the life she was meant for. A woman who doesn't beg, doesn't prove, doesn't wait. A woman who glows so fiercely, even his memory can't dim her light. Write this in the comments, queens, and claim it with every breath. I am the glow he can't escape. Say it like a promise to yourself. Say it like a truth he'll never forget. And if this spoke to you, if it lit something inside your heart, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working with love and purpose to bring you the lessons that help you rise, glow, and reign without saying a word. Number 2. Your peace will disturb his comfort. Have you ever noticed how silence can be louder than 1,000 words? Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of a woman who finally chose herself. The silence that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't explain. The kind of silence that wraps itself in peace and walks away with her head high. That silence, it disturbs him more than your anger ever did. Right now, he may think you're done. He may believe that your silence means you've given up. But what he doesn't see is that you're not breaking. You're building. You're stepping into a calm so deep, so powerful that it makes him restless. Because he was used to your voice, your attention, your energy. And now that it's gone, that silence starts to feel like a storm. One he cannot stop. One he created. Seneca once said, "A mind at peace is a fortress no man can conquer." Your peace is not just peace, it is power. And in relationships, especially when love is taken for granted, that power becomes magnetic. It's not what you say that triggers his devotion. It's what you no longer need to say. Your silence becomes the mirror. It shows him everything he lost, everything he doubted, everything he thought would always be there. And suddenly, that comfort he felt, it turns into confusion, into questions, into regret. Think of still water. At first, it looks calm, quiet, even unnoticed, but step too close, and it pulls you in deeper than any wave ever could. Your peace is like that. He underestimated it. He mistook your stillness for surrender. But now, the more peaceful you become, the more uncomfortable he feels. Because nothing haunts a man more than the woman who no longer reacts. Maybe you were the one always trying, always explaining, always hoping he'd finally understand your worth. But those days are over now. You're not the same woman anymore. You're not trying to be heard. You are the message. You are not here to fix what he broke. You are here to rebuild what he never deserved. And now, dear lady, it's time to live like the queen you've always been, the kind of woman who walks in silence and still echoes in his mind, the kind of woman who no longer needs permission to shine, the kind of woman whose peace is so powerful it wakes him up in the middle of the night, realizing what he can never reach again. Repeat this with your whole heart. My peace speaks louder than my words. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. Let the world know you are done explaining, done chasing, and finally living in your full power. And if this message spoke to your soul, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working hard to bring you real, life-changing lessons, because this is not just about love. This is about your rise. And queens, your rise begins now. Number 3. The absence that feels louder than presence. Have you ever noticed how silence can say more than 1,000 words? How your presence was once taken for granted, but now your absence is louder than anything you could have ever said. That's the shift. That's the power. When he no longer hears from you, when he no longer feels your energy, your attention, your love, something inside him starts to ache. He doesn't understand it at first, but the silence, it begins to speak, and it says, "You're gone." In love, you gave him everything, your time, your care, your heart. You answered every call. You sent the good morning messages. You stayed up late just to make sure he felt supported. And now, he expects that version of you to always be there. But here's what he didn't see coming. One day, you stop. One day you don't explain. One day you simply walk away, and the space you leave behind, it speaks louder than your voice ever could. Seneca once said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." And yes, it takes courage to say nothing. It takes strength to let go of the need to be understood. But silence, when it comes from self-worth, is not weakness. It is power. It is the sound of a woman who has finally realized her value. Think of a garden. Every day you watered it. You tended to every flower, every leaf. You showed up, even when it was hard. But if the ground gives nothing back, if it takes and never blooms, you eventually stop watering. And when the water stops, the garden feels it. It starts to crave what it once ignored. That is him. He may not notice your presence while you're still there, but once you go silent, he feels the void like a drought. Lovely woman, you are not invisible. You were just giving too much to a man who stopped deserving your light. But now you live different. Now you carry your worth without needing to prove it. Now you speak with presence, not with words. And that silence, that will trigger something in him he can't ignore. Because when a woman with power stops talking, he starts listening. This is your moment to stop chasing and start becoming. And queens, write this in the comments and claim it. My absence is louder than words. Let this truth echo through your life until it becomes your reality. We are here, building a place of truth, strength, and unstoppable lessons, just for you. You're not here to whisper, you're here to reign. Number 4. He will regret not listening to what your silence screamed. Have you ever wondered how silence can be louder than 1,000 words? Not the kind of silence that hides pain, but the kind that shouts your worth without making a sound. He didn't hear your voice when you cried. He didn't listen when you tried to explain your love, your loyalty, your patience. He thought your silence meant you gave up. What he didn't realize, your silence was the answer. It was the end of the story he never appreciated until it was too late. You see, when a woman stops speaking, that's when a man begins to hear her. He didn't value your words, so you gave him your absence. That's where the regret starts. That's when he replays everything he once ignored, every look, every touch, every quiet moment filled with meaning, because now there's only emptiness. And in that silence, he begins to hear what you were trying to say all along. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In love, this means your energy, your self-worth, your silence. They speak louder than begging ever will. And that's exactly what triggers real devotion. Not talking, not chasing, but choosing yourself so fully, he starts to question why he ever thought he could live without you. Imagine standing in front of a door, knocking over and over, but it never opens. Then one day, you stop knocking, you turn around, you walk away. And suddenly, he hears what he never paid attention to, the sound of your silence walking out of his life. That moment? That's when regret crashes in like a wave he can't stop. Maybe you're still hurting. Maybe part of you wants to scream so he finally understands. But no, lovely woman, this is the moment you rise, because now you are not explaining, you are becoming. You are no longer waiting to be chosen, you are choosing yourself. And that is where your true power lives. This is where you start living like the queen you were always meant to be. So hear this. Your silence is not weakness, it's your loudest roar. Let him regret the voice he ignored. Let him feel the weight of everything you didn't say. Let your peace be the punishment. Your silence, that's what he'll never recover from. Write this in the comments and claim it. My silence says what my words never could. Queens, let the world feel that energy. And if this message lit something inside you, if it reminded you of who you are, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the healing, and the lessons that help you rise, because you were never meant to be forgotten. You were born to reign. Number 5. The mirror of his own mistakes. What hurts a man the most isn't the silence. It's the reflection. The moment he looks back and sees the damage he caused, not to you, but to himself. The moment he realizes that everything he thought he walked away from was everything he ever needed, not because you said anything, not because you screamed, begged, or proved, but because you vanished. And in your absence, he saw a mirror of his own mistakes. At first, he felt free. He thought walking away meant he won. But time has a way of showing truth. Now, he scrolls through his days trying to replace a feeling he didn't value when it was real. He thought you'd be there forever, that your heart would always be open. But you stopped reaching, you stopped explaining, you stopped trying. And that silence, it became the echo of his own regret. Seneca once said, "Every guilty person is his own hangman." He doesn't need punishment. He doesn't need you to lash out. All he needs is a quiet room, a fading memory, and the image of you walking away without a single word. That's the moment he starts to feel it, the weight of losing the kind of woman who doesn't just give love, she becomes love. And once she leaves, no one else ever feels the same. Think of a mirror covered in dust. It reflects nothing until it's cleaned. And now, your absence is clearing the glass. He sees himself clearly, the excuses, the selfishness, the way he chose comfort over connection. And he knows he's the reason you're gone. That mirror doesn't lie. It won't protect his ego. It just shows the truth. He didn't lose you. He let you go. And you are not the same. You are becoming the kind of woman who no longer waits to be loved, because you are busy being the love. A woman who doesn't raise her voice to be heard, because her silence speaks louder than anything he could ignore. This is what living as a queen looks like. Not cold, not cruel, just powerful, clear, unshaken. So, beautiful lady, don't chase, don't explain. Let your transformation become the mirror he can't escape. Write this in the comments and claim it. I am the reflection he regrets. We are working every single day to bring you the truth, the healing, and the strength you deserve. Because your silence isn't weakness, it's power, and your time to reign is now. Number 6. The crown you picked up when you dropped the phone. Have you ever noticed the exact moment when everything changes? It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's the second you stop waiting for a reply, stop rereading old messages, stop hoping he'll finally understand your worth. It's when you set your phone down, not in sadness, but in strength. That silence, that stillness, that's the moment you pick up your crown. He expected a text. He expected another call. He thought you'd try to fix it one more time. But instead, you chose yourself. And that's when everything shifted, because devotion is not triggered by words. It's triggered by presence, by the way you move forward, by the power you now carry without needing his attention. There's a quote that says, "She remembered who she was, and the game changed." That's exactly what this moment is. You stopped chasing and started becoming. You stopped explaining and started evolving. And suddenly, the woman who once waited is now walking with grace. the same grace that stuns him into silence. Imagine a crown resting quietly on a throne. It doesn't move, it doesn't speak, but its presence commands respect. That is you now. You placed the phone down and picked up the one thing he never expected you to wear, your worth. He can no longer ignore it. Because the woman who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't explain, becomes the woman he can't stop thinking about. This isn't just about walking away. It's about who you are becoming as you do. He may not say it, but your silence speaks louder than every message you never sent. And in that silence, his devotion begins, not because you asked for it, but because he finally sees what he took for granted. Beautiful woman, you are not broken. You are rising. He thought the silence meant you were done, but it means you've just begun. This is your moment to live, to grow, to reign without ever saying a word. You don't need to prove anything. Your presence is the proof. Your glow is the message. Your crown is already shining. Write this in the comments and claim it. I picked up my crown when I dropped the phone. Queens, let this be the day you stop explaining and start reigning. We're working hard to bring you real, life-changing lessons, because queens like you deserve nothing less. Number 7, the love he'll never feel twice. Have you ever seen a man lose something so rare, so pure, that he doesn't even realize it, until it's already gone? He didn't know it at the time, but what you gave him was not ordinary. The way you loved him, stood by him, believed in him, he may have thought it was normal. But now he's learning the hardest truth of all. The love you gave is the love he will never feel twice. You didn't just care, you didn't just stay. You gave your soul when it was easier to walk away. You stayed loyal when he stopped noticing. You offered peace while he chose chaos, but he took it for granted. And now, that kind of love is gone. And no matter who he turns to, no matter what arms he falls into, he will search for you in every smile that isn't yours. There's a quote by Charles Bukowski that says, "The problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence." But in your case, it wasn't doubt, it was trust. You trusted your heart in the hands of a man who wasn't ready to carry it. And now, he's confident he can replace you. But he can't. Because women like you, love like yours, it doesn't happen twice. Think of a candle in a dark room. It doesn't need to shout to be seen. It just shines. It lights up everything around it. But once it's blown out, the room remembers what it felt like to be warm. And that's what he's feeling now. Cold, empty, wishing he had appreciated your fire while it still burned for him. You're not bitter, you're not angry, you're becoming something stronger. You're becoming the woman who no longer needs to speak for her worth to be felt. You're becoming the silence that keeps him awake at night. This is what it means to live like a queen. Not a woman who begs to be chosen, but a woman who makes herself impossible to replace. So now, lovely woman, rise. Let him remember your love in the quiet of his regret. Let him chase ghosts while you build your empire. He thought he could come back when he was ready. But the road back to your heart, it no longer exists. Write this in the comments and claim it. He will never feel my love twice. Queens, let the world know your silence is power, your love is rare, and your presence is unforgettable. If this spoke to your soul, like this video and subscribe. We are working every day to bring you powerful, life-changing lessons because you were never meant to be forgotten. You were meant to reign,